relationship lost and then regained. Is it fun? It's fun periodically, and sometimes it's really hard.
After a lifetime of speculation, whispers, and headlines full of rumors, Hollywood's golden boy has finally let slip a secret that nobody could have seen coming: Robert Redford. Now, at 88 years old, the actor has let out into the world who the true love of his life really is. For decades, fans and the media alike have speculated in this regard, but now the truth is out. But why keep this hidden for so long? And more importantly, who was she? Stay tuned for a story that will leave you speechless. A career overshadowed by romance rumors, from sun-drenched Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid to the political intrigue of All the President's Men, Robert Redford blazed a trail through Tinseltown that few could ever hope to emulate. Charming, handsome, talented beyond measure, Redford would become one of the most popular actors of his era. Yet with his burgeoning star came endless speculation about his private life. Was this seemingly perfect Redford hiding a secret all along? His career, equal parts critically acclaimed and commercially triumphant, was eclipsed by rumors of romantic conquests. The tabloids framed him as the ultimate Hollywood hunk with the ever-changing list of lovers. Did he have a girlfriend in The Way We Were co-star Barbra Streisand? And were he and Meryl Streep sparking off-screen after Out of Africa? The public never stopped guessing. But beneath those glossy headlines and breathless speculation, there was always a deeper story, one which Redford guarded carefully. Yes, he had relationships, some public, others more private. But was there a single love, a woman who captured his heart in a way that no one else did? It appears there was, and for years the media missed it entirely. And now things get interesting. No matter how much the public loved to talk about Redford's love life, nobody really knew him. He was a known private man who never let the world into his personal affairs. But perhaps, just perhaps, that is because the truth was too precious to share. Could it be that while the tabloids were throwing names around like confetti, they missed out on the one person that truly mattered? Think about it. Many of Redford's roles put him out there as the lone, solitary figure, the cowboy, the war hero, the man of mystery. Was that a parallel to his real life? Was he carrying the weight of a lost or hidden love all along, much like the characters he so famously portrayed? Here's where the story takes a sharp turn. Behind tinsel glitter, flashing cameras, and red carpets, Robert Redford hid a love story far more fascinating than any romance lifted from Hollywood's silver screen. And, as it now turns out, it is a story that could easily give the most dramatic of his films some run for their money. The question on everybody's lips right now: why did he hide it this long? And why, at 88, did he finally decide to tell the truth? Hollywood's leading ladies who failed to steal his heart. Over the years, his name had been spoken in the company of Hollywood's most elite ladies. From on-screen chemistry to off-screen speculation, he just could not seem to get away from romance rumors. During the golden age of Hollywood, Redford sent tabloids flying, and quite literally, everyone wanted to know who it was that got this charismatic leading man's heart. But no amount of media probing could crack Redford, and he remained an enigma, a man who was tight-lipped about any truth with regard to his personal life. Arguably one of the most famous names dragged along with Redford was none other than Barbra Streisand, his co-star in The Way We Were. Sizzling on screen, audiences always felt that perhaps a spark could be ignited off-camera. The tabloids were full of endless speculations, and murmurs of a clandestine romance began to circulate. Was Streisand the one? But with the passage of time, in spite of the powerful chemistry that radiated between the leads, it finally became obvious that Redford's heart was kept tightly locked up. Then there was Jane Fonda, another screen icon with whom Redford starred in numerous films, oozing electric chemistry from the screen, with many presuming that the lines between acting and a real-life romance were blurred. Redford and Fonda remain great friends to this date, but once again, the rumors were just that, rumors. The mystery of Redford's heart remained unbroken. So, who was it? The more the rumor mill churned out one name after another, the more Redford kept mum. For years, the media entered a guessing game, hounding high-profile actresses in search of who took Redford's heart. Even Meryl Streep, his co-star in Out of Africa, wasn't immune from the assumption. Again and again, though, Redford left them in the dark. Each one of those rumored relationships turned out to be just a passing phase in his life, none of them being the love story which the fans searched for. By default, he became the master of misdirection. As the world was focused on the public relationships, the real love of his life remained shrouded in the darkness. And with every new name appearing, the audience moved an inch closer, hoping to get a glimpse of even the slighted magnitude. But Redford always kept them guessing, never really letting the audience in on who the woman was that meant most to him. It wasn't until much later in his life that the truth would finally begin to surface. Redford had dated many, but not one of them was the one. Behind that dazzling smile and Hollywood glamour was a quiet, untold story. The truth was, the greatest love of Robert Redford wasn't someone the world expected. In a tale kept out of the blinding media spotlight, chasing the wrong women, this is the real love story until now. But who was she? What was so special about her that Redford kept it under lock and key for such a long period? Could it be because this one woman meant more to him than any of his other relationships? Why spill the beans on a secret he had kept silent for so long at the ripe age of 88? Well, just wait and see as we unfold a tale more dramatic than any in Hollywood romance. The heartbreak you didn't know about. Why would Robert Redford keep this love story for such a long time? Did he want to keep his life to himself alone? Or was there something more? A heartbreak so deep he couldn't tell to the world? Because the answer lies in one of the most tragic tales of Redford's life. Before fame, before fortune, Redford knew what it was to lose in a way that would shape him for the rest of his life. The love of his life entered his world at a time when all seemed to be working just right. He was at the pinnacle of his career, adored by millions, and enjoying the fruit of his successes. But just as fast as she entered it, tragedy struck, and Redford was left to pick up the pieces. Her name wasn't across tabloids or chattered in circles of Hollywood. She was special. She was private, and unfortunately, she was someone Redford lost too soon. The agony of that loss was deep to a degree that one day, Redford made a resolution. He would keep this love story all to himself. After all, just how do you share with the world something so personal and fragile when it's so absolutely serious about the glitz and glamour of Hollywood? In his own words, he let it be known that the love of his life died suddenly. The grief was overwhelming, and Redford the stoic was devastated, retreating into his shell, hiding the pain and the memories, keeping this sanctity of a relationship fully out of sight. It would have been a chapter in his life which he simply couldn't bear to relive until now. Piecing these fragments together as we do now is a love story and understanding why Redford waited so long. The lady that he lost was not just a lover, but his confidant, partner, and soulmate. To share the heartbreak of her passing proved to be much. He buried it deep inside and allowed the world to think about other relationships when he mourned in private. Until now, it seems. At 88, with most of his life behind him, Redford has loosened up. Why now? Perhaps time has taken the edge off his pain, or maybe he feels the world is ready to understand just how profound was his loss. Whatever the reason, Redford's confession serves as a reminder that even Hollywood legends harbor heartache. And while the world saw him as this untouchable, charming star, he was just a man behind the scenes who lost the love of his life far too soon. The deeper the reader wades into this story, the clearer it becomes that Robert Redford's greatest role wasn't one he played on screen, but rather that of a man who loved, lost, and chose to keep that love alive in his heart, no matter how painful it was to do so. Robert Redford's private love life. But who could this mystery lady be? After keeping the world guessing for decades, it looks like Robert Redford's admission has left many tongues wagging. Now, private Hollywood legend opens his heart, revealing the intimate moments he shared with the love of his life. Over the years, the spotlight has captured Redford on screen, playing various roles that have made him a legend. But now, we are going to take that rare look into a world few have ever seen, the world behind the fame, the fortune, and the flashing lights. As Redford opens up, we learn this love story wasn't one lived out in front of cameras or splashed across tabloid headlines, but rather a quiet, deeply personal romance, hidden from the public eye. But why? In an age obsessed with fame, few would ever dream that a man of Redford's stature would keep such a deep part of his life private. Yet he did. And all these years later, we are finally getting a glimpse into those private moments that defined his love story. Hollywood's golden boy, Robert Redford, fled to a cabin lost in a mountain, far away from the din of the city, the cameras and the gossip. It is here, in these quiet, intimate spaces, that Redford and the woman he loved spent their most cherished moments together. Whether it was long hikes in nature, late-night conversations by the fireplace, or simply enjoying each other's company, these moments were a far cry from the fast-paced world of Hollywood. But who was this woman? And what made their relationship so special? According to Redford, she wasn't just someone he loved. She was his sanctuary. While the world knew Redford as a Hollywood heartthrob, he was behind closed doors, just a man smitten with a woman who understood him in ways no one else ever could. It's in these private moments that the real Robert Redford comes out. A man who values simplicity, connection, and authenticity far above the glitz and glamour of his profession. They knew a love untarnished by the pressure of the paparazzi or speculation of the media. It was just him and her, living in a world of their own. He says these were the moments where he felt most at peace, most connected with the person he was. And even though to the rest of the world he was just Butch Cassidy in a Sundance Kid movie, in these quiet moments, he was just Robert, the man behind the fame, deep in love and completely himself. Testament to that is the life they live in private. For a man who was among the most famous in the world, Redford's love remained untouched by the chaos of Hollywood. It's perhaps this contrast, the man we saw on screen and the man he was in private, that makes this love story beguiling. This wasn't some sort of Hollywood love affair. This was much more personal, much more real. So what was so special about this woman? Why did Redford keep her so long a secret from the world? The qualities she possessed that set her apart, why Redford's heart was never anybody else's. We will be able to understand as we go deeper into their love story. But before we come to that, let us also touch on the bond that they shared, a bond that still echoes in the recesses of Redford's heart even after all those years, the one who captured his soul. What made her the one? In a world where Robert Redford had his pick of Hollywood's brightest stars, why was this particular woman so special? It wasn't just her beauty or charm, though Redford has hinted at both. It was something deeper, something more profound. Now, at 88, Redford reveals the truth behind their connection, a love story that transcended time, fame, and even heartache. The confession of Redford is not about who she was, but about why she was different from the rest. Hollywood romance is essentially ephemeral, ethereal, and short-lived. But what Redford shared with this lady was not a romance, but an endearing relation. Mutual respect and understanding are two qualities that built their liaison, a hard-to-find quality in Tinseltown. According to Redford, she was not only his lover, but his confidant, a woman who understood him at his core. It's not hard to understand why women would swoon over Robert Redford. Charming, handsome, and talented, he had it all and was considered one of the hottest men in Hollywood at the time. But Redford was looking for more than superficial attraction. He wanted someone who looked beyond the facade of stardom, someone who actually showed him an emotional connection. And this woman? She did just that. In the words of Redford, she wasn't only someone he loved, she was his soulmate. But even soulmates face challenges. As Redford's star rose, so did the stresses on their marriage. There were lengthy separations, relentless media attention, and the rigors of a career that kept him always in the public eye. But through it all, their love endured. How? Because what they had wasn't just a Hollywood fling. It was a relationship built on trust, communication, and an unbreakable bond. While Redford had, of course, been linked romantically with many high-profile women, none of them fitted next to her. The two of them were different. Beyond passion, beyond chemistry, their bond had been a meeting of souls. Life had pulled them apart, but time passed. Still, he never felt any different about her. As other relationships had come along and moved on, she had remained the constant in his heart. So why didn't we hear about her sooner? According to Redford, his love was too sacrosanct, too personal to be shared with the public eye. In a world where every aspect of his life was scrutinized, this was one thing he could keep just for himself. And maybe that's why their love endured. By not making their relationship public, Redford shielded it from the corroding influences of fame and fortune. But as Redford nears his final days, he thinks the time has come to tell the story of a woman who meant more to him than anybody else. So stay tuned as we continue to unravel the mystery behind Robert Redford's greatest love. The name we never saw coming in Redford's shocking confession. After keeping the world in suspense for decades, Robert Redford has finally let the bomb he had withheld for years explode, with fans and critics utterly shocked. The love of his life was just who? Well, it's such an unexpected answer that nobody wonders why Redford kept this secret for so long. Ready for the big reveal? Take a deep breath, because this is one plot twist even Hollywood couldn't have scripted. As if out of a movie plot, the one he had announced that had captured his heart all these years was none other than Name, an individual who had never been part of the swirling Hollywood gossip mill. Starlets, fellow co-stars, and even high-profile romance, we had speculated about them all these years, but this was a name no one expected. It wasn't those glamorous faces that tabloids had linked him with. He had been living in the background, far away from center stage. Why was Redford keeping this relationship so close to his chest? According to him, it wasn't just a matter of protection of privacy, but the protection of her. While the world was talking about his career, fame, and high-profile relationships, this one piece of his heart was kept tucked away, shared only with the woman who meant most to him. But why now? Why, at 88, would Robert Redford finally let the world in on his greatest secret? In fact, it was the case that Redford's timing was as considered as every other single thing he does in life. When Redford wanted to reflect upon his legacy and his absolutely remarkable career, he felt that now was the right moment for the truth to come out. "It's time for people to know," he said in a rare interview, his voice soft but steady. "I didn't just want to be remembered for the roles I played. I wanted to be remembered for the love I had, and the woman who made it all worthwhile." And with the revelation of her identity, Redford's tale has reached a whole new dimension. Fans everywhere are in a state of shock, frantically working at trying to put together this deluge of unexpected revelation with the image that they had of Redford for so many years. Still, as always it seems, Redford can pull us onto the edge of our seats all these years later. Behind this admission, however, sits not just a name, but the quiet strength and steadfast loyalty of their love story, as told by Redford. It is less about who she was than about what she meant to him. The fact that Redford has finally decided to share this secret shows that after a lifetime of fame, fortune, and fanfare, love was simply the one story that mattered. But who was she? And what impact did she have on his legendary career? Hang on, but one thing is definite. The revelation concerning Robert Redford's greatest love story has just begun to take shape in the minds of the world. Now that Robert Redford has opened his heart, we see a deeper, more intimate side of the Hollywood icon. This confession not only changes how we view his career, but also how we understand the man behind the legend. As the curtain falls on this extraordinary chapter, one thing is clear. Redford's legacy isn't just about his films, it's about the love that defined his life, hidden until now, but never forgotten.